2026 has been a year of new experiences, new sizes of journals, new spreads, new themes, and of course, it's never too late to start a new journal. And after seeing that my reading journal wouldn't last very long if I continued to add in all my manga and manhwas collages, I decided to start a new journal dedicated to that very purpose. Hi, I'm Juliana and welcome back to another video. The journal I chose for this is the 8x8 Square Crane dot grid notebook from Tifosi in the color green. All my journals for 2026 have been brown, but this one was the perfect aesthetic for what I wanted, and plus it was on sale, so I decided to buy it. And no, this video is not sponsored by Tifosi, but I do have a discount code if you want to use it. Now for the first page of the journal, I'm going to glue it to the other because it's that awkward page that doesn't open all the way because of the binding, so I do this in all my journals. For the cover page, usually I do a full spread, maybe even a quote on the left page, but I wanted this setup to be easier and not having so many big collages like I tend to do often, so I tried to keep this one on the minimal side. All these elements I'm using are from Journalsay, they are going to be linked down below as usual, and then the gold foiled washi tapes are from Eevee. I decided to do a theme that matched the cover of the journal, which is green, so I went with this Chinese-esque vibe, mainly these characters that are from a sticker book, and then I just chose some elements that would fit the aesthetic, like the papers and some stickers as well. I always try to build a background first for the main focus of the page to sit on. In this case, I needed something to be behind the character, that is the main focus, so I put the bigger pieces that I had, like the papers, the big white frame sticker and the green lace PET tape, and then in the same line or even in front of the character, I put the smaller elements, like the washi tapes, the smaller frames and some stickers to balance things out. Then for the titles, I'm not using a specific font, I'm just doing my calligraphy in a way that looks like a brush stroke, because that's something I associate this aesthetic with. And then to have some contrast, I did the less important words in a style that is more flowy and loose. I think these two quote-unquote fonts complement each other really well. That's it for the cover page, so now let's move on to the next one, that is my rating system. I didn't found a rating system that was suitable for mangas or manhwas or etc. online, so I created my own, and with the help of you guys I came up with PEACE, that stands for plot, environment, art, characters and enjoyment. I'm going to explain it a little more in a minute, but this one was heavily inspired by the Peach system from Erin Smith, which is the one that I use in my reading journal, and I really like that system, so I tried to recreate it in a way that fit the mangas and manhwas, etc. Now, even though I'm doing a specific video for this setup, my monthly updates are going to be in the same video as my reading journal, because I asked you guys and you prefer it that way, and honestly is much more doable for me. So expect the monthly updates together with the reading journal ones. Now, about the PEACE rating system, for plot you have to think about the story. Does it make sense? Is it coherent? Did you like the storytelling? Was the ending a bit rushed or was perfectly paced? And of course, was the story interesting enough? Then for the environment, you have to think about the vibe, the ambience, and of course the world building. So was it complex? Well explained? Was it unique? Or maybe it was set in the same world as many others? Then we have art. This one is very subjective. Everyone has different tastes, but it's something that I look at when I'm reading, so I think it deserves its own category. In this one, is the art style modern, typical, or unique? Do they have the same face syndrome? Because that's a problem sometimes. Is it unique or different, or maybe not your vibe? Next, we have characters. This one is pretty self-explanatory. So, what did you think of them? Were they reasonable? Maybe even relatable? Did they have good development throughout the story? Were they well written? And did you love or hate them? And then the final category is for enjoyment. This is purely for vibes. So, did you like it or did you not like it? This category is kinda like giving a star rating with no calculations, just from the heart. So to summarize, did the story keep you up at night trying to finish it? Or was it forgettable? You give each category 1 to 5, and in the end you have something out of 25, and you just divide the total by 5 to obtain the star rating. For example, if my total is 16 out of 25, it gives me 3.2, so it's 3 stars. On the right page now we have my reading goal. Honestly, I'm just doing this page to see how many mangas, manhwas, webtoons, and so on and so forth I read in a year. I think I read quite a lot of them because the majority is on the smaller side with just a few chapters. So since until March I read 24, I think I can read at least 100 until the end of the year. I'm not sure, but I decided to make my goal 108 just to keep this layout more aesthetically pleasing. Otherwise, the size of the squares wouldn't work out with what I wanted, so this was the easier way. I'm keeping this page lightly decorated because the squares are already quite heavy and it's going to be even more once I color every square. So just a few tapes on the top and the bottom, a sticker on the top, and it's done. Now I can color in the 24 I read so far this year. Next we have two pages that are more niche for me. First, on the left page, I'm tracking my collection of the Modao Zushi, or the Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, comics/manhwas. There are 13 volumes and so far I read 4. I'm buying it slowly because they are on the more expensive side, but my goal is to have all 13 and then I can maybe start another Modao Zushi collection, maybe the novels or something else. I still don't know yet, and it depends on where I can buy things like that because it's not very easy in my country. I printed all the covers of each volume on sticker paper and they take quite a lot of space, so I'm keeping the decoration more to the top and the sides. I'm alternating the position of the tapes in each page as I go. I don't know if you catch that, but it's just a way to keep everything cohesive but still different, because the position of the tapes or the decoration affect the layouts. I'm also using another character sticker, but this one reminds me of Lanzan, the other main character of Modao Zushi, because it's really similar, so I had to put him in here. These stickers are actually washi stickers, but you have to cut around them because they are printed on many pages and are put together with other designs on one single page. So I just chose the ones I wanted and kept the back paper that doesn't have a sticky side, because that way the stickers are much more opaque and they look more 3D because of the thickness. for the right page we have my other niche. That is a One Piece arc tracker. So I started my One Piece journey in late 2025, I think, and my goal is to make it to the recent updates right now. So I want to keep up with that, but it's a very long journey. So to make it more palatable and make it more fun, I decided to create this tracker that has each main arc followed by each sub-arc with the episodes on the side. I can't say season because technically we are still in season 1, so I think it's better this way and it looks less daunting to look at all the episodes I still have to see. I saw this information online, so if something's wrong, don't come for me, okay? Of course, I did this on Canva, sized it to fit on this page and printed on sticker paper because there was no way for me to write all this down, so this was so much more easy and quicker. And following the same line, I'm now making an anime tracker. This one, I decided to copy the layout of my book series tracker that I did in my reading journal because it's just a layout that works better for me when I want to track something that has many volumes, seasons, or books in a series because I can add more if I want. So this is a table that's going to work from right to left. I'm going to show you how it's going to look like because I'm filling in some animes, not all of them, but some that I'm in the middle of. And in terms of seasons, let's say, for example, My Hero Academia. It has 8 seasons. So from right to left, I'm going to number all the dot spaces until 8. And I already finished it, but let's say I only saw until season 5. So I'm only going to color in the dot spaces until 5. And imagine that they decided to come up with another season. I can always add another box to that line without running out of space. This is a layout that is much more easy to understand once it's all filled in. I tried to not over-decorate the spread because the tables take up almost all the space anyway, so I decorated more of the bottom of the right table because I don't think I'm going to reach that far, but if I do in the future and I have to take the girl off at some point, it's okay with me. And in here I'm only going to write animes that have more than one season, or at least the ones that I know are going to have another season. Also, the letter M in Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen, for example, is for movies, so I can differentiate movies from seasons, and I try to keep everything in chronological order. As you can see here, I'm coloring the seasons I've watched so far for each anime, and for example in Demon Slayer, I've watched the first Infinity Castle movie, and I know there are going to be 2 more, so I already put the space for them in here, even though I know I'm not going to coloring them this year because they are not going to the theaters anytime soon. But if I have to use the journal for another year, if I have enough pages at the end, I can still use this spread. Moving on, we have a spread dedicated to monthly statistics, and this one was heavily inspired by Brie Journals on Instagram. She makes beautiful spreads for her own manga journal, and this one was a spread that I knew I had to add in my own journal. So in here I made some tweaks because she doesn't track the same things as I do. So I'm basically making a little bar for each month of the year and dividing each in 5 sections. And each one is going to track a different thing. So from left to right I have mangas, manhwas, which are Korean, manhwas, which are Chinese, anime episodes, and how many seasons I finished each month. Now, I'm not doing anything with this data, but I think it's really fun to track all of these at the end of each month throughout the whole year, and then seeing the totals at the end. That's why I made 13 bars instead of 12, because that extra one on the bottom is for the results. And then I just decorated the top and bottom with some tapes and added a few foliage stickers here and there because there wasn't much space left. Next, we have a spread for all the mangas, manhwas, webtoons, etc. that I read in 2026. So I made a table, and from left to right, we have the title, of course, DNF, so if it's one that I did not finish, MG for manga, MH for manhwa, so Chinese, and MW is for manhwa, so Korean. And this is just to help me keep track of that information and then pass this to the monthly stats. So if I do this as soon as I finish each manga, or at least when I do the monthly updates, it's much easier to keep track of that information. As I did in the previous table, I'm coloring every second line. And I do this for two reasons. The first is because it's easier to see the information written on the table, because you can just follow that line that you're tracking instead of skipping a line and getting it all confused. And two is for aesthetics. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I do a spread in a certain way because I want to decorate in a certain way. In this case, it's because if I left the tables completely blank, you would see so much white on the page. So to give a little interest to the spread, sometimes just coloring every second line is just enough. Later, I'm going to fill in all the information with everything I read so far until March off camera, because I have to search all that manga, manhwa information, so for now it's going to remain empty. The next spread is going to be the same thing repeated, but I'm not going to do that right now because I still don't know if I'm going to need it, so if in the future I do, I can always recreate it. So moving on, we have the same type of spread, so it's for everything I read in 2026, but this time is with book covers, which is something that I did in my reading journal and I'm loving it. So first I'm going to make Dutch doors, because I want to be able to see all the covers at a glance. And I made some calculations that I don't remember right now, but I think I have space for my goal, which is 108. This spread is the one that's going to be less decorated because it's going to be filled with many colorful covers, so it's going to have enough visual information and I don't need to add anything more. So just a washi tape across the spread on the top and bottom is enough. Then I marked the corners of each cover on the page, so I knew where to place them, and I'm just marking this first page because it's a very time-consuming task, and I'm also going ahead and putting all the 24 covers I have so far because I really wanted to see it. And of course I added the star rating below each one, which I'm going to fill in as well. Some of them I'm not filling in for now because those are the ones that I didn't make any collages for, so I didn't even bother to give them a star rating, but I'm going to do that off camera as soon as I do my piece rating calculations. This spread is so satisfying to look at, especially when it's all filled in. I really love this type of spread, and even though it can have repeated information that I maybe already have in another spread, I think this one is purely for visuals. And since I'm a very visual person, this one just scratches my brain in the right spots. So after I put the rest of the washi tape on the spread, this one is done. So that's it for the initial setup of this journal. So next I just marked the pages where I'm going to have my monthly themes, and I'm leaving one page for each month. So I have 12 pages in total. And after those 12 pages, I'm going to have the individual collages for the mangas or manhwas that I want. It looks more consistent this way because I already did January, February and March in my reading journal, and I'm not going to redo the collages I made so far. Anyway, it's time for the final flip through. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give a like, subscribe and comment down below a green heart emoji to let me know you watched it till the end. I know this one is a little bit niche, especially because manga journal and collages are no longer a trend, but I still love to do them, and I think if you like to do something, you don't need others to do it for it to feel valid, you know? If you like it, just do it. And I thought of not making a video for this because I honestly don't know if it's going to be something that people want to see, but for those who commented on the last reading journal update, thank you so much for giving me an extra push to film this one. Because even if only 5 people are interested in this one, I hope I gave inspiration for those 5 people. I had so much fun doing this theme since I never done one like this before, and I'm so hyped to do my collages even more now. I hope you have a lovely day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!